So today is my 28th birthday, recording this video on my birthday and everything. And I've gone through a lot in my 28 years. I've started businesses, relationships, family, drama, things I've dealt with. I've moved a lot. I have my own apartment. I buy houses. I do real estate. I post content. I've, had millions and millions of views through content. I try to be relatable and, kind of post like what I'm going through. But in this video, we're going to talk about 28 life tips, life advices, and just things that like I experienced throughout my life. This is going to be a little bit more interpersonal, a little bit more vulnerable because some of these are, topics that not a lot of people are talking about. This is going to cover pretty much everything from business, life, relationships, general advice, money advice, and just things that, I've gathered throughout my life, and especially throughout my, adult and business life. The last 4 years have been, probably the most important 4 years of my life, starting in real estate, starting businesses, being self-employed. So the first tip is time travel is real. Just kidding. I just wanted to throw that in there. That's not the first tip. The first tip is life happens fast. And this is something that you've probably heard about. This is probably something you have experienced. I don't know, if you're watching this, if you're older than me, younger than me, but I'm sure you're aware that life happens quick. 2020 was 4 years ago. It feels like it was just a few weeks ago. I still remember what I was doing this time in 2020. I remember what I did on my birthday in 2020. I remember, taking care of a dog and fostering a dog and having a job and, graduating college. Graduated college 5 years ago. That's crazy. Like, I feel like I just recently graduated. People that are graduating college now weren't even in college when I was in college, whatever. I graduated high school 9 years ago, which that actually does feel like it was a long time ago. It's crazy how fast time moves. And, if you're not working on something, if you're not progressing, like you need to take advantage of how quick time moves because you can be elevating yourself so quick with, how time just is. And also time can be crazy, in other ways. For example, last month I visited my grandparents in Tennessee, and it's crazy what happened to them because just a year ago, my grandfather and my grandma, they used to go for walks. They were healthy. They were fit. They used to go to parks a lot. They would, kind of hike a little bit and stuff. And they were in their mid 70s, I guess, or late 70s. And now, a year later, my grandma in Tennessee has stage 4 lung cancer, and doctors are saying she might have months left to live. And my grandfather has Alzheimer's, and he's losing her. And with Alzheimer's, you forget your memory, and he's not gonna have somebody to help him. So I'm not looking for pity. I don't want any pity. I'm just expressing like how fast time moves. A year ago, they were hiking, they were doing fitness, they were walking, they were doing things, and now they can't leave the house. And look at what's changed. So a lot can change in a year, hopefully for the better. Tip 2 is bigger is not always better. A lot of people think you have to do bigger things, you have to think bigger, you have to have bigger businesses, you have to have a bigger house, have a bigger family. I don't even, whatever you want to relate bigger to, it could be inappropriate things too, but it's not always better. And I think there's an advantage to having a lifestyle. For me, I've always had a lifestyle business where I don't have the biggest business, but I have a business where I can do things that people with big businesses may not be able to do. But I think being flexible and being able to pivot and, just kind of do things as you want is an advantage. Tip 3 is something that I've experienced myself, and it's something that, I've lost a lot of money. And if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. This can be anything from new businesses, business advice, people you're working with, job opportunities, moving opportunities, partner opportunities. There's a partner that you're getting into a relationship with and you're like, wow, they're perfect. Like, what's going on? Like, you never know. And pretty much every single time that I've lost money, I've probably lost upwards to 6 figures or more in my life, just pretty much burning money. Like I've, lent money, I lost money. I've partnered with people that I shouldn't partner with that, promised the world and lost money. a lot of money. I bought a Amazon ecom store that was like, oh, passive income, lost money. I trusted sellers, I trusted buyers that would say that they would go through with a deal and wouldn't, and lost money. And I've lost a lot of money. And it's tough because I'm always like a trustworthy guy. But one thing that I have to do is I have to trust but verify. I always have to verify, while I'm trusting, ideally, because, you want to trust everybody, but it's tough. It's really tough. Same thing for mentorships. I've spent a lot of money on mentorships, business mentorships, real estate mentorships, and I would say over half of them have been pretty much horrible. Like I've, probably wasted a lot of money on mentorships. I never consider a waste, kind of regret that wording, but I've spent a lot of money that didn't give me a direct return on investment. But trust but verify. Not everything is as it seems. Not everybody is, in your best interest. A lot of people are working in their best interest. 2 years ago, I turned 26. Obviously, 20 minus 2. But what I did when I turned 26 was I was posting real estate content at the time, and I decided that I would give out free coaching calls, just help people. So what I did was on my 26th birthday at like 11 a.m., I dropped a link where people would fill in like time slots for a free coaching call. It was a 30-minute coaching call, and I gave out 26 of those. And, a lot of people charge for coaching calls, like $500, $1,000, $200. Like I've seen people charge all money for that. And, I would say some of those, like I am more successful than those people charging money for coaching calls. I've never charged anybody for a coaching call, and I gave out 26 for free. And the reason I'm telling this story will make sense in a second, but what's crazy is of those 26, I need to look through my exact notes, but I think 14 showed up. So that means 12 people that signed up for a free coaching call for 30 minutes where I would pretty much help them in any way possible, getting started, scaling, whatever, didn't show up to the coaching call. Like, how crazy is that? So the advice is you can give somebody all they need to do something, but if they don't want it, then they won't do it. And this doesn't just apply for business. The story was business, but this applies for, dieting, fitness, pretty much anything that you're stepping out of a comfort zone to do. If you don't have to lose weight because you're comfortable with your weight and you're used to your body weight, then you won't. But when you do have to do it, then you will. But not everybody is forced to do that. Not everybody's forced to do business. They're happy with their job. They're happy with whatever they want, and they don't do it. And even me, I'm not where I want to be, and it's probably because I'm comfortable. You can bring the horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. So, just get used to that. If you do start a business, if you do things and you're going to be like, man, all my friends should be doing this with me, or, if you're doing fitness and your family maybe isn't into fitness and you're like, come on guys, let's go to the gym together, and they don't want to, like, don't let that discourage you. Do your thing and let them do their thing. Number 5 is you have to learn to not care. And this is pretty much everything. This kind of falls into the last one, where as you're doing something and, people are asking about it and judging you, you have to learn to not care. You have to learn to keep doing your thing, keep posting content, keep doing your business, keep, your up fitness journey, keep your diet up. Everybody's going to be maybe hating on you for doing something as you pivot and as you grow, but you just have to learn to not care and just keep doing what you're doing, because what you're doing, assuming it's something productive, it will work out. But if you let other people's opinions, foster that, if you let other opinions change what you're doing, then you're not going to get where you want to go. And I would say most successful people had to learn to not care. And that also can apply for, business, where you're overthinking stuff and you're not wanting to make calls, or you're not wanting to start a business. Just don't care and just keep doing it. Do what you got to do. And then number 6 is something that is I've been thinking about a lot lately, and it's ignorance is bliss. Because I've always been into politics, but I'm almost jealous of people that don't follow politics, because like there's just so much stuff that happens. I'm also jealous of people that don't look into conspiracies and rabbit holes. I had the time traveler thing happen to me. I've gone through so many conspiracy rabbit holes, and man, some of this stuff is crazy. And a lot of people, probably most people, don't know about what's really happening. Another example is The Boys on Amazon. I've been season 4 just came out, and I've been watching that. And it's like, man, like most of those people, look up to these superheroes, and they don't really know what's going on. That's kind of like not a good example, but it kind of is. I'm almost jealous of people that don't follow politics. They're like, I don't care. I'm just gonna keep doing what I do. And it's like, man, like good for you. You're not letting things affect you. And I think there's a huge advantage to being ignorant, where, you're just doing your thing, you're doing your thing. You're not over educating yourself in certain aspects. And, you don't have to stress out about stuff like that maybe other people would be. So number 7 is something that Alex Hormozy said, and I'm going to quote him, where he said, comparison is not the thief of joy, judgment is. And I think that's so facts. I love the quote, comparison is not the thief of joy, because I've fallen into that rabbit hole all the time. But it's where, it's like an internal thing where you're comparing yourself to that person and losing joy. You're losing quality of life because you're comparing yourself to that person, what they've accomplished. But you can also compare yourself productively, where I could say, man, look, this guy is doing really well. That means I can do it. He's carved the path. He's done what he needed to do. He laid the foundation. That means I can do it too. If he can do it, I can do it. So you can produce, productivity and joy through comparison. But the reason that comparison is the thief of joy is because we do it unproductively. So if you're able to do that productively, then, it's not. But otherwise, don't compare yourself. I see people that post content that, posting closed deals and, girlfriends and boyfriends and, making money and buying new houses. And, maybe I'm friends with them, maybe I'm not, but maybe some of those people we don't know are struggling. You never know. I've been guilty of it where, I've been posting like, oh, look, I did 5 deals this month, but, maybe, I was like struggling through those. And I don't know, that's not a good example, but I do it all the time. I do. So that's one thing I always advocate is, don't compare yourself to me. Cause I'm learning just as everybody else is. There's nothing wrong with being an employee or working for somebody else. With social media, it's like, wow, look, this 18-year-old is making $1 million. And it's like, yeah, I mean, maybe he is, maybe he's not. You don't know. He's saying he is, like, you don't know. But don't get confused. Don't get confused. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. I think there's a big advantage of being an employee. You have a way higher floor, like a financial floor. You have more consistent income. And, being an entrepreneur it's tough. Being self-employed is very tough. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. So don't get confused. Nothing wrong with it. I'm sure you're doing great in your current circumstances. Strive for more, but, don't get comparing and don't lose yourself over comparison. Number 8, and just to preface this, take this advice as you may or as you want to, but I know more successful people that are religious and believe in, let's say, just a higher power than successful people that aren't. And this is from my personal network, from people that I'm friends with, people that post content, people that I know that are doing well. And most of us believe in a higher power, believe in something else out there that's kind of working in our benefit that, helps you. And it could be my circle. It could be people I follow, because I'm sure there's people that don't believe in this that do very well. But, I don't think that's a coincidence. So take that as you will. But that's just something that I've noticed, and I think it's a very interesting observation. Number 9 is family is always more important than work. But you need to work to, spend time with family and afford to spend time with family and to grow and build a family. So there's a balance to it. But I would say more likely than not, you need to prioritize family. You want to spend time with family. We talked about it earlier. A year ago, my grandparents were doing well and now they're not. And it's like, man, I kind of wish I spent time with them a year ago where I could hike with them. Where last month when I went to them, it was, sitting in the house kind of sad. Like, like it wasn't like a fun trip. It was a more sad trip than fun trip, and seeing their lives kind of deteriorate. So, prioritize family. You're only, young once. You only have young kids once. You only have, young siblings or young parents once in your life. So I think family should always be the priority, but make sure you're working too, because you don't want to prioritize family and then you're lacking on working, and now you're not able to afford your house, you're not able to afford rent, and you can't afford to spend time with them. So there's a balance to it, but I would rather choose family most of the time. So number 10 is about manifestation, which I think is super cliche nowadays and everybody kind of talks about, but I do think manifestation is 100% real. A lot of what I've kind of imagined has come true, or hopefully will come true. But like, I remember 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, man, I really would like to be in real estate, and like, I did it. I remember 3 years ago, I'm like, man, I would really like to post content. I did it, and it worked out. I remember just a year ago, I'm like, man, I really want a 2 bedroom apartment, and like with a nice kind of space here. This is my new apartment. Oops. But something. But yeah, I mean, like, manifestation is real. It could be relationships, it could be business, it could be kids, family, travel, trips, everything. It all works out. Just keep working and it'll work out. And there's a reason that humans have been writing about manifestations for hundreds of years. There's a reason why, because it is real. And if you want to relate that to, point eight, the higher power, then you can. But, I think it's pretty clear that, manifestation, I don't think there's any downside to it, and you don't have to sit there and be like manifesting, but just like think about what you want and it'll kind of happen. It's crazy how that works. Follow up with that is number 11. It's about meditation, and meditation is hard. It can be boring, but 100% of the time, meditation will make you feel better. Like 100% of the time. There's not a time where I've meditated and I'm like, wow, I feel worse. It just doesn't happen. And you could just do a 10-minute guided meditation. Just go on YouTube, type in 10-minute guided meditation. Just look up one of those. You can even look up certain topics. Meditation on manifestation, meditation on, success, meditation on, confidence, like whatever you want. And like, there's so many videos out there. 10 minutes, what is 10 minutes of your day? It's nothing. And I'm not gonna say I'm perfect. I meditate every day, because sometimes I don't, where I should. But there isn't a time where I remember feeling worse after a meditation, where I sit there for 10 minutes, I open my eyes, and I'm like, wow, like I just feel better. I just feel better. So that's just something that I've always observed. Number 12, just to get right into it, is stop believing in weird diets. I think dieting is very simple. Like, people overthink dieting. Even, family members of mine, like my mom and stuff, overthink dieting. And I think dieting is very simple. It's eat less calories, eat more protein, eat less carbs. Fats are good. People think fats are bad. Limit oils, and simple exercise. And you will lose weight and hopefully gain muscle, as long as you're doing those things and you're eating enough protein and you're limiting your calories and carbs. Like, you'll lose weight and ideally gain muscle if you're lifting weights and stuff like that. I don't think people will think correctly on dieting. Like, everybody's trying to do different things. I also intermittent fast. I don't eat before 12 p.m. usually, and that helps me. I'm also good on an empty stomach. But do whatever you gotta do. Like, eat breakfast, it doesn't matter. But just limit your calories and your carbs. Eat more protein. Try not to eat as much oils, seed oils and stuff. And you'll do well. Like, you'll see the diet working. Cheat meals are okay. Like, obviously yesterday, today's my birthday, but yesterday I was celebrating my birthday with family, and I ate cake. And I'm like, man, I like cake. Maybe probably today for dinner I'll eat cake too. So it's fine. One thing is, if you're an adult and you don't know how to read a nutrition label, that's kind of embarrassing, but it's not your fault. You probably just weren't raised to look at nutrition labels. So start now. Start watching videos on how to read a nutrition label. Look at the proteins, look at the carbs, look at the calories, look at the trans fats. Look at the ingredients. Like, is seed oil the first ingredient? Is it red 40 in your food? Like, just look at those kind of things. And it's not hard. Like, you'll learn, like, they're pretty easy to read. Number 13 is people making a big deal about posting content and posting videos. I think most people want to post videos and post content. They just gotta overthink it. They overthink what people will think about them when they do it. They overthink what they should post, and they don't do it. When they overthink it, they don't do it. And to be honest with you, I think the best content creators, and some of them that I follow, they post lower quality content, like lower quality edited content or recorded content, but it's more relatable. And they're just telling, they're just explaining what they're doing, or they're telling a story, and it's just super relatable. And like, people that I follow and look up to now, like, their content, low-key kind of sucks. Like, it's not the best edited content. It's not like crazy stuff happening. It's just like good stories, reactionary content maybe, and just, explaining what's going down and giving their opinion. And I think that content is very good in this kind of like genre, speed of content where everything is over edited nowadays. I think just relatable stuff, lower quality, isn't like recording quality, not content quality. Stuff can be super good. So don't overthink it. Just post what you're doing. If you're passionate about something, just start posting about it. And as you do, you'll get better. When I first started posting videos, like, I sucked at talking to the camera, and now, like, pretty comfortable with it. I'm not perfect. Like, obviously there's people better than me, but I'm like, okay, like, I can make this video. It's not a big deal. So just do it. Obviously it's not easy to do. It's hard to think about topics and stuff, but I think unedited content is perfectly good. And just document and tell stories about what you're doing already. Number 14, so we're almost halfway through, and it's lazy morning routines are perfectly okay. Sleeping till 8 or 9 is okay. I used to try to do the crazy routines. I used to wake up at 6 a.m., take a cold shower, go to the gym, meditate, all this stuff, and it would end up taking 2 hours of my time. Journal, that was another thing. It would take like 2 hours of my morning, and it was like, I woke up at 6, but by the time I sit down and start working, it's almost 9. And it's like, man, I would rather just wake up at 8 and go to the gym and be home by 9. It's just like, it's a lot of work, and I think morning routines are very overhyped. I think just do what makes you happy. If it's waking up, pounding a coffee, and working, whatever it is, like, just do that. Or if you want to sleep till 9, do it. It's okay. I know plenty of successful people that sleep till 9, 10, and get what they need to get done. You don't need to do these crazy morning routines. My morning routine is I drink water, take my supplements, caffeine, ideally meditate, and then 10-minute meditation, go to the gym, come back, shower, and work. Some guru online would be like, oh, wow, your morning routine, you're a lazy person, but it works for you, then, like, do it. Like, who cares, Like, there's no, like perfect formula. Like, just do what you gotta do. Number 15 is you are allowed to listen to music. I remember when I was getting started in business and getting started in, like, self-development stuff, it was always like, oh, no music, no TV, no video games, just productivity, podcasts and videos, and work 24/7. And it's just like the hustle culture, and like, you're allowed to listen to music, you're allowed to watch TV, you're allowed to play video games. Like, I would say most people do. Most human beings probably watch TV or play video games or listen to music. Like, you don't have to be productive 24/7, and you'll probably be more productive if you have downtime where you can kind of just like recoup yourself. You can go out, go to clubs, go to the bars. If you want to get a drink, like, whatever. Don't excess, don't overdo it. If you're overdoing it, then it's probably not helping, but do what you gotta do. But you don't have to be productive 24/7. You don't have to work 24/7. It's crazy that that's what a lot of people believe in. I believed in it too. So don't fall for that. This is a tough one. Point 28 is a tough one that not a lot of people are going to be ready for. But as you achieve more in your life, as you become more successful, it's pretty much guaranteed that you will lose friends. It's tough, but it's not a unique experience. This is something that I experienced. This is something that most successful people have experienced. This is something that you have experienced or will experience. So be ready for it. You'll start to feel weird with some friends. You'll realize that a lot of people are on different wavelengths. A lot of people are on different hustles. A lot of people have different priorities than what you have. And you're trying to do something that they're not trying to do, or they're trying to do something that you're not trying to do. And it's okay. That's just how it is. It could be it could be people that you were previously best friends with that you're no longer able to relate to like you used to. And maybe they want to go out more and you're trying to work, or you're trying to go out and they're trying to work, or they're just trying to do different things. They're trying to have kids and stuff and you're still trying to party, like whatever it is, like it's okay. And you might experience people talking bad behind your back, or people being jealous of your new success. But don't stress it, because you'll meet people on your same grind. Go to networking events, go to events where you can meet these people, but you'll meet people on your same grind. You'll meet people on your level, and you can surround yourself with those people. Surround yourself with people you want to be like. Keep your friends if you can, but just get ready for this experience that you're gonna lose friends. It's gonna happen. And this can also be for business partners. This can be for business relationships. For example, I had an accountant for 3 years that I just fired this year because he was terrible the last 2 years. And it wasn't easy to do, because I've been with him for so long. But, I've had business partners and business relationships that I can no longer, be friends with those people, or, friends from college and high school that I don't really relate to anymore. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is. So just be ready for that, because that's just how it goes. Everybody experiences that at some point. Follow that into point 17. I think this is a big mind shift change that I experienced, but I realized that my life is very unique, in ways, right? And I'm gonna get into this. I'm not trying to brag, but I also realized that my life is not unique, and most of the things that I have done or am doing or want to do or have experienced aren't really unique experiences, because other people have done these as well. Millions of people have gone through the business strifes and the business downfalls and the roller coaster of life events, and family members doing things, and relationships and girlfriends, and millions more will go through the same thing. And when I realized that like I'll get through it. I'm in a down part right now, let's just say I am, but like let's say I'm in a down part right now where I'm not where I want to be. Like other people have been there. Very successful people have been there. There's groups of very successful people that have been bankrupt and got it all back. And you're building that knowledge as you do it, but you'll get through it. People have got through it before you, and they'll get through it after you. So just keep going, because whatever you're experiencing, like it's fine. Like it's just part of this experience that we're all experiencing in this game of life, that this is all our first time playing. Like however old you are, our parents are older, but this is their first time playing life too. So I think that was a big mind shift change for me. This isn't a unique thing. Like, how many humans have lived before us? How many humans will live after us? Point 18 is something I didn't know at first, and I've never really seen people talk about that much, and it's something that I really enjoy, is because I think a lot of people get stuck in like this like judgment where they think everybody's judging them and stuff. And I think a lot more people are supporting you than you know about. For example, me, like I follow old friends on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, YouTube, whatever. And, I see them doing things and I'm like, wow, like good for them. Like they're killing it. Like I'm happy for them. Like I'm glad they're doing things, or, maybe they're having kids or getting married. And it's like, good for them. Like I'm happy for them. But I'm not in like direct communication. I'm not in their circle. They're not in my circle where, I'm telling them, but, I'm cheering them on from the sidelines. And, when I started doing things and making moves and stuff, like I used to think everybody was judging me. Everybody's going to be like, oh, wow, he's just trying to brag and stuff. But I realized that a lot more people are supporting you than you realize. And they may never tell you. I may never tell these people, which I probably should, like, hey, I'm happy for you, doing well. But you'll realize that a lot more people that you think are like maybe judging you and looking down on you, they're actually not. And I think that's an interesting mind shift change where it's like, okay, like, like, hey, this is working well. And if they really are, looking down on you, whatever, it's like, man, just unfollow me then. Like, who cares? Like, they'll just unfollow you. But don't get stuck in this routine where you think everybody is against you, because you'd be surprised. A lot of those people that you maybe think are against you are actually, kind of like cheering you on, but quietly, from the stands. So I think that was an interesting mind shift change that I experienced. Going into point 19 is going viral is a crazy experience. And I'll get into the point in a little bit. But I've had, many viral videos. I've helped people get viral videos. But obviously what I'm referring to is the time travel story. And I got over 20 million views. My voice cracked. But I was in the news. I was interviewed by the news stations. I was interviewed by, pretty much everybody. I was in TMZ. I was a Florida man. Florida man finds time traveler. The story was real. I can't get into it, unfortunately, due to circumstances I can't discuss, and I'm not allowed to. But it was a real thing, and I learned a lot about myself during that period of time. There was times when this was, 2 months ago, which is crazy. Time goes fast. But there was times during this where I couldn't sleep. I would stay up until 6 a.m. Just anxiety. I would finally fall asleep at 6. I would wake up at 8 a.m. sweating, shaking. It wasn't a fun time for me. And a lot of people were like, wow, Alec, you're killing it. You're doing well. You're famous. And I was probably in my most anxiety I've ever had in my life. And I still had to work. I still had to make money and stuff because I was self-employed. But one other thing is, and this falls into a couple other points that I was talking about, but I would get a lot of supportive comments like, yeah, like, post more, wow, this is crazy, like, people giving me advice. But then I would see like one of every, let's say, 50 comments would be like hating on me. And that one hating comment would like sit with me more than the 50 positive comments combined, you know? So it's tough. Like, if you ever post videos, you know what I'm talking about. But it's not an easy experience. It's not easy. It's very hard. But you just have to get through it. And that falls into point number like 1 or 2 or 3, where it's like you have to learn to not care, you know? Because if you don't care, you're just like, man, I don't care. Like, it's not going to affect you. Point 20. So we're almost there. Jeff Bezos said this quote on an interview with, I think, Lex Friedman, maybe. I forget who it was, but it sat with me. And I'm going to misquote it, but I'm going to sum it up. But he said, you feel stressed because you are not working on what you need to be working on. Something like that. And I always think about that. I'm like, man, like, I'm so stressed out. Like, why am I stressed out? Well, let's look. I haven't done this. I haven't done this. I haven't gone to the gym. I haven't done this, done this, done this. And it's like, man, if I got these all done, I wouldn't feel so stressed out. Like, that stress is almost like me lingering on things because I know I need to get more done. Posting videos for me is something that stresses me out because I don't do it enough. And I know I'm not doing it enough. And I give myself excuses. But, it's something that I realized it's because you're not doing what you need to get done. And I think that's such a good quote because it's true. Point 21, people have been probably asking this for thousands of years, human beings, but it's like what the purpose of human life is. Like, what's the purpose of me? What's the purpose of you? And to be honest with you, I think it's very simple. I think the purpose of human life is just to reproduce and keep the species alive. Like, I think that's what we're here for, is to keep the species growing. What's the point of a lizard? It's to, live, keep the ecosystem in check, the pyramid. But it's also to reproduce and keep the species going. And I think that was a big mind shift change for me, where it's like, okay, like, I know what my purpose here is. The thing is, I think humans are very self-aware beings. And because of that, we overthink purpose. But in my opinion, it's, do what you got to do. Do what makes you feel fulfilled, what makes you feel happy. Love is a big purpose, that a lot of people will say. At the end of the day, our purpose here on earth, a thousand years from now, nobody will remember us. But right now is to reproduce and keep the species going. Like, that's what it is. And to, keep developing as, people, technology wise. Point 22. If you are sad or depressed, I've been sad and depressed before. It's usually because of one main reason. And this is something I learned at a Tony Robbins. It wasn't something I learned at a Tony Robbins convention, but it's something that, it really just clicked for me at a convention, where I realized, hey, the reason that I'm not feeling good, the reason that I'm feeling this way, the reason that I'm feeling like I'm in a slump is because of one main reason. And that reason is you are lacking a purpose. And it's something that you need to be working towards. As humans, we naturally want to be working towards something. It's just how we're built, right? We're just built that way. And when you're not working towards something, when you don't have, something brighter on the horizon, when you don't have something that you want to do or work towards, you're not going to feel good. And that's one of the main reasons that you're feeling sad or depressed, is because what you're working towards isn't there. But if you have something you're working towards, if that's, a business, if that's fitness, if that's a better life, if that's better life circumstances, and, there's a way that you can work towards it and improve it, then you just will feel better. It's simple as that, but it's easier said than done. I'm not oversimplifying, sadness and depression. I've experienced both, trust me. Like, I have. But you can get through those by having a purpose and having something that you want to work towards. It's something that I've experienced firsthand. And the best first steps, the best way to start this purpose and get out of your funk is to just do simple things like cleaning your room, going for a walk. Simple things like that can elevate your current circumstances and motivate you to want to achieve more and get your brain working in a different way. Point number 23 is more of going to be an opinion, because it's something that most people or a lot of people may not agree with me. But, as I'm getting older, I'm 28, I have a lot of friends that have gotten married. I have a lot of friends getting married. I have friends that are having kids, had kids, recently had kids, are getting more kids. I don't have any direct friends, but I'm sure that people around my age are starting to experience getting divorced. My parents were divorced when I was a kid. When I was a baby, they got divorced. But like, all these like life things are gonna start elevating and happening, quicker as you get older. And if you're older than me, I'm talking about. If you're younger than me, maybe you're starting to see it, but it's gonna start happening more and more. But my opinion, this is my opinion, but my opinion is, don't rush it. I don't see any point in rushing getting married, rushing relationships, rushing kids. In my opinion, I think it's better to almost not have kids when you're young and do more traveling, do more business building, do more, empire building, build your empire. Get a good spouse, get a good girlfriend, get a good boyfriend, get a good husband, and, do what you got to do. But don't rush it. This is my opinion, but, there's no like milestones that you have to hit. You can get married at 40 years old for the first time. Like, who's saying that you can't? You can have your first kid in your 30s. Like, you don't have to have a kid in your 20s. I don't plan on having kids in my 20s. So, we'll see. I'll look back in this video and we'll see. My voice cracked a little bit there. I'm sorry. But that's my opinion. Point 23, don't rush it. Compare yourself to other people and be like, oh, I have to do that too. Point 24 is kind of like a joke one, but I think it's facts. I live in downtown Fort Lauderdale, so there's a lot of nice restaurants around me. And in my opinion, expensive food is so overrated. Like, I kind of hate expensive food. I eat expensive food, probably weekly, and I kind of hate it every single time, because I would rather have 10 Chipotles or 10 Panda Expresses than one expensive fancy dinner. Like fancy food, expensive food is so overrated. Like drinks are like $15, the food is 20 to 30. And it's like, man, I can have four Chipotle's for the price of this one dish. Three Chipotle's. Um, I always gonna compare like prices to Chipotle's or Panda Expresses. Those are like low key my favorite restaurants. But I mean, bro, expensive food and fancy dinners, like it seems cool. It's like, oh man, I really want a nice, expensive dinner. It's like, man, they're kind of, they're fun, but like it kind of sucks at the same time. I think a lot of people would agree with that one. It's kind of like a joke one, but it's like serious at the same time. Point 25 kind of falls into the food one. I try to keep these organized a little bit. Point 25 is learn to cook. It's a very attractive skill set that you need to know, in my opinion. I think everybody should know it. But if you don't know how to cook, start now. Cooking is so easy, and it's also a basic human necessity. Like you should learn how to cook. Just cook basic things like eggs, chicken. If you're vegetarian, broccoli, whatever. But just learn how to cook, learn how to grill. You could save money. You can eat healthier food. You can sometimes eat tastier food. You can, have cooking dates and save money that way. You can, just cook something real quick and, eat it. You don't have to go out to eat. You don't have to rely on restaurants. Most restaurants have a lot of oils in them. In my opinion, I think cooking is like as easy as building Legos. If you remember building Legos, you would get the box, you would get the instruction manual, it'd say put this block and this block, and then you build the whole thing, and you're just following instructions. Like you're not building a unique thing. Like you're just following instructions. And it's the same thing with cooking. Like you're just following instructions. Like just go look up videos of people cooking recipes and just copy what they did. Like it's very simple, and it's something that I think you should learn how to do. It's something that I've pretty much known how to do since college. I learned how to cook, kind of taught myself, to be honest. I'm like, okay, fumbled my way through, and I think I'm very good at cooking. And I enjoy cooking. Cleaning part sucks. That's the part that sucks. But, cooking is easy. And, if you have to cook something, you have to cook something. You don't have to rely on restaurants. And it surprised me that so many people don't know how to cook. Like, that's something that always surprised me as I got older and talked to people and learned from people and had roommates and stuff. 26 is a little bit more generic advice, but I'm going to kind of elaborate on it. But it's the best time to start something is like yesterday. The best time to start something is yesterday, but the second best time is to start now. Stop waiting for the perfect opportunity, because there never is a perfect opportunity. And I'm not saying I'm perfect and I'm not guilty of this, because it is something I'm guilty of. Like I don't do things I want to do, and then I procrastinate them all the time. But if you start now, you can fumble your way through it. You'll figure it out. You'll learn how to do it correctly. You'll learn how to do it better, and you'll do more of it, and you'll be way further ahead than you were if you were waiting for the perfect opportunity and never did it. That could be anything from business, from relationships, fitness, diet, whatever, however you want to relate that to your current circumstances. Okay, number 27, we're almost through this. Diversify the opinions that you hear. The thing with social media is we can get into rabbit holes of following people that all have the same opinion as us. And you're just getting the repeated conversations, the repeated opinions, the repeated reactions from people that have the same opinions of you. An example of this is politics. If you're following all liberal, if you're following all conservative, if you're following all pro one candidate people, then you're just going to see all this same regurgitated content, same regurgitated opinions, and you're going to assume that everybody has the same opinion as you or as the content creator. This can be for sports. If you're following all pages from one team and you're not following pages from a different team, and you're saying, wow, this team sucks, but that's not a good example. But business can be the same thing. If you're following all pro one business, anti another business, all pro guru or anti guru, whatever, what I'm talking about. But with social media, it's so easy to follow people with the same beliefs or similar beliefs and assume everybody has the same beliefs. But I think it's very, very, very powerful to, I'm not saying follow people you disagree with, but to understand all perspectives. I think that's such a powerful tool to have. And it's something that I think that I do is I can understand all perspectives. I have opinions, of course. I have people that I like better than other people. People that I think should be in charge that are in charge or aren't in charge that should, you know what I'm talking about. But it's very powerful to know all perspectives, and it'll help you give more of an unbiased opinion. So that's something that I always, strive to do, and I, kind of recommend everybody to do is diversify your opinions, and look at all kind of ways of thinking and opinions on a topic before you set up your mind and just only listen to one person, because that's not correct conversational skills. And especially if you're trying to argue a point, you need to understand what the other perspective is. The last one, number 28, your first something will always be the worst, and it's only uphill from there. So your first business, your first relationship, your first love, your first diet, your first workout, your first whatever it is, it most of the time will be the worst one. Like, just how it is, it probably will be, but you'll learn from that and you'll do more. This applies pretty much everything to me. When I first started cold calling and in business, like if you looked at my first one and my most recent one, it's light and day, and that's just how life is. You'll learn a lot about yourself by starting. The first house I bought was a disaster. I still have the house and I learned a lot, but that's just how it goes. When you do start, the first one is probably going to be the worst one. Like, it probably is. And I do have 2 bonus tips. So we're actually going to have 30 tips, advice, things in this video. Bonus tip 1.29 is, in my opinion, sales skills are the most important skill set that you can learn. Sales is pretty much everything. And you have to understand basic human communication, so you can know how to talk to people, and you can know how to read people, and you can know how to communicate well. And I'm not saying sales like slimy salesman at a used car dealership. I'm not saying sales like that. I'm just saying like sales like know how to understand when people want a product, or know how to understand when people want to talk to you. Everything is sales. Video content is sales. Like, I'm hopefully selling myself as somebody that knows these topics and can talk on these things. Or if you're watching somebody's opinion or reactionary content, they're selling themselves as a professional in that content field. Sales is everything. You're applying for a job, you're selling yourself. You're trying to get a girlfriend or boyfriend, you're selling yourself to that potential partner. So sales is important. In my opinion, if I could have 4 years of sales experience or 4 years of a college education, like right now, if I had to choose, I would choose 4 years of sales experience, without a doubt. That's not saying don't go to college. That's not what I'm saying, but you'll learn a lot in sales. You'll learn so much. I think everybody should have a sales job at some point in their life, and you'll learn, maybe you don't like sales, but you'll learn a little bit about human communication. And the last point, this is going to be a quick one. I'm going to leave you off on a quote that Alex said again. I love this quote. And the quote he said is, "You already achieved the goals that you said would make you happy." And I think that's facts. I love that quote. You already achieved the goals that you said would make you happy. So I'm going to leave it off on that. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped. Drop a comment with if it did. I hope I didn't ramble too much. And I'm gonna be posting more videos, so hope to see you on some new videos. Thanks for watching.